This is Brijesh, and I'll be hosting this session for you all today. So let me give you a small introduction about Tech Canvas before we start this session today. So being an IIBA endorsed education provider, we are authorized to conduct all the IIBA Business Analyst Certification trainings at Tech Canvas. So starting from ECBA, which is an entry certification in business analyst, we train people for level 2 CCBA and the highest level of certification, that is CBAP in business analyst. Apart from that, we train people for Agile Analysis Certification, that is AAC. And now recently we have started training people for CBDA certification, which is into data analytics certification given by IIBA. Apart from this, we are also training partners of ISQI Germany, wherein we train people for Certified Agile Business Analyst certification given by ISQI. We also train people on multiple domains, starting from retail banking, investment banking, then we got trade finance. There is payments domain training also we have. We train people for US healthcare and insurance domain. All right. So now let me give you a small introduction about today's speaker as well, Mr. Jatin Ajmera. So Jatin brings in more than 11 years of work experience in business analyst in IT and banking industry. He has proficiency in domains like core banking, investment banking, credit risk, and ATM domain. Jatin is a version 3 CBAP Certified and IBM Data Science. All right. So now I would like to invite Jatin to begin the session. Jatin, over to you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Brijesh. Thank you, Brijesh. Hope I'm audible. Good enough?
Yes, Jatin.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Brijesh. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time and joining this session. Today, we are going to conduct a webinar on one of the very important knowledge areas of IIBA, BABOK, which is Requirement Analysis and Design Definition. Before we start, I would like to give an overview of why this topic is important to us, why this topic is important for the certification as well. As Brijesh said, there are 3 certifications for IIBA, ECBA, CBAP, and CCBA. And all 3 of them, BABOK is the Bible, that is Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. And that BABOK book consists of 6 knowledge areas, which are listed over on the screen. And if you see, the highest weightage is given to the topic which we are going to cover today, that is Requirement Analysis and Design Definition. That is one of the important aspects because it covers a huge importance in your exam. Also, it is important because it is a very strategic knowledge area with respect to tasks which are to be performed by the business analyst during the entire project or during the entire chain of process. I would be giving you more detail and information about this topic, Requirement Analysis and Design Definition. But before that, I would like to request you all read these 2 case studies. Why? Because I will be referring to this case study and make you understand the topic in more easy way, so that you can relate all the tasks which are to be performed by business analyst with the real world scenarios. So just read the two case studies which I have just mentioned here, and we'll start with our main session. Let's read the first case study. Rio Motors is the motor company who wants to launch electric car in Indian market. This will be the first of its type in Indian market. At, at the moment, there are no electric cars, and this is the first company who want to enter the market with its electric car product. Management is very keen in this project and have asked designers and analysts to come up with a plan and design details. Because it's a company, so management is of course very much more interested in what are the potential benefits or revenue which the company would be getting after the launch and after some years of launching the product as well. So they have asked business analysts and designers to take up the task and see how we can roll out the product in the market. Second case study is with respect to bank. ABC Bank wants to replace their existing ATM fleet. The reasons are below. Old ATM fleets are having several issues, and customers have given several complaints to the bank with respect to ATM machine and its functioning as well. There are several defects in the machine. So bank has decided that let's replace the old machines which has very limited features and have several issues with respect to customers with the new better machines, so that customer satisfaction improves, and also better machines which has more features than the existing ATM fleet. Two of the important aspects are the business analysis team is based in Mumbai, and some of the stakeholders are also located at different parts of the country as well. So hope you guys understood what these two case studies are. Very simple and real world scenarios. One is a motor company wants to launch a product, electric car, and one of the bank wants to replace their old ATM machines with the new one so that they improve the customer satisfaction. Now, during this entire session, just keep this two case studies in mind. I will come back to these case study again and again so that you guys can relate with the existing with the task which business analysts perform. In this knowledge area, requirements analysis and design definition consists of 6 tasks. First task is specify and model requirements. Second is verify requirements. Third is to validate. Fourth is to define requirements architecture. Fifth is to define design options. Sixth is to analyze potential value and recommend a solution. Now, coming back to the importance of this topic is important because during this, the business analyst uses the requirements which are already known from various stakeholders like management, various customers, and now business analyst task is to make all the requirements in a structured way, review them, verify them, validate them, whether it's valid or not with respect to what we want to achieve, and provide various options and solutions and see what maximum potential value we can achieve using our one of the design options. Coming back to our case study, about case study 1, where a company wants to launch an electric car. Now, as a business analyst, it's the job of the business analyst to reach out to various stakeholders and get the requirements from them. So one of the stakeholders is management. So business analyst goes to the management and asks what they want, what specific they want in the electric car, and also about what all features would be there for the customers. So all those activities is already done in one of the knowledge areas before this topic. So now business analyst has to structure all those information and make it more visible and more understandable to all the stakeholders around. So let's go to the first topic, specify and model requirements. Now, when you read BABOK during your learning phase of any one of the certification, you will be coming with 2 terms, analysis and model. Whenever you hear term analysis, that means you have to analyze and document it in a text format, in a readable format. And model means always it's a diagrammatic or visible or visual format. So always remember these two specific terms. So now here we are talking about specify and model requirements. So in this subtask, we will be talking about what is the purpose, what are the inputs and outputs, what are the elements, what are the guidelines, techniques, and who are the stakeholders involved. Now, during this topic, we'll be first going to the purpose. Now, as I said, the purpose of specify and model requirements is to analyze and refine all the elicitation results. Now, what do you mean by elicitation result? Elicitation means whatever information you have from all the stakeholders. Example, one of the stakeholders says, I want a electric car which is 4-seater car, not a big one. The body should look like that. The tire of the car should be of this much centimeter. All those specifications have been received from management during the elicitation activity, during the interaction with various stakeholders. With respect to ATM case study, business analysts have gone through all the complaints of the customer, what all issues the customer is facing, and understand them. So all these information which are done as a homework by the business analyst is called elicitation information. So now the purpose of this task for the business analyst is to develop and make it more specific and make it in a very visual way with all the requirements which are gathered from the elicitation activity. So during this task, business analysts take some inputs and produces some outputs. So one of the input is elicitation result, as I said. So whatever information which are gathered for the project, which are gathered for your product launch from the various stakeholders are to be taken as inputs. And at the end, business analyst has to make all the requirements specified and modeled. Specified as in more clear, structured way, and modeled as in more visible way. Because as a human psychology or as a human understanding, it is very difficult to read huge paragraphs and try to understand them. And it is more easy to see a diagram and understand the entire aspect or concept. So business analyst task is to not to write huge paragraphs of requirements. Instead, it is better to make it more structured or more diagrammatic manner. The first element of this task is to model requirement. As I said, model means to make something visible. There are two points. As in, you can create some matrices or you can create some diagrams. Now, matrices are such that if you see an Excel, there are columns. So you can just add your requirements one by one, something like this. If you come back to your case study one with respect to launching of a car. So if you see the Excel sheet over here, I have created a small matrix. So there are main requirement, there are sub requirements down the line. So if you see there is a main requirement of battery. What are the types? What are the capacity of the battery? If you see the requirement of tires, the tire size, what would be the emergency spare tire details? What would be the body, which metal, color? So all these requirements and sub requirements, you can create a small matrix. So it is more structured way and more visible way. Second is to as in diagram. Diagram is more of a visual way to often represent your information to various stakeholders. A diagram is especially useful to depict very complex things in a very understandable and easy way. If there is a very complex project going on and it's very difficult to understand, it is better to make it in a diagrammatic format so that other people are able to understand in a better way, an efficient way. So these are the two aspects how we have to model our requirement. One is to do a matrices, and one is to do diagrams. And there are 5 examples about that what we can do with these two aspects. One is to model people and roles. What do you mean by people and roles? If you have seen an organization structure, we have a CEO. Below that, we have various directors. Below that, they have various regional managers. Below that, there are various project managers, and below that, there are various employees. So it's a type of a organization chart or organization tree, which are uh, made in a visual way to understand the entire hierarchy of the organization. So using this matrices and diagram, you can model people and their roles. What are their activities? Rational means why we are doing this change. You can create some diagrams as to make the management and the customers understand why we are doing this change. Example of the car, we want to launch an electric car in the market because there are various advantages of electric cars in the market. About the ATM, why we are doing this change? Because there are several issues with respect to old ATM fleet, and bank wants to get rid of them so that customer user aspect of the customer is given in a more better ways. Customer is more satisfactory with after the ATM processing of doing the transaction at the ATM. So why we are doing this change, you can also depict in a very visual format. About the processes, you can also make it into a diagram format. What are the processes? How a customer should do a transaction at the ATM? First, he has to insert the card and give all the details, and then withdraw the cash. So you can create in a diagrammatic way to make it more understandable. Capability also, what are the existing capability of the old ATM fleet, so that we understand what are the uh, drawbacks in the existing ATM fleet and see what we can improve them. Last is the data and information. Business analysis task is to gather data and information and document it. So whatever information or in data which business analysts get from various stakeholders, or by its own homework by doing document analysis or any other techniques, it is important that all the data and information are modeled and stored in a proper way. Next element is to analyze requirement. Now, business analyst has got all the information, what he needs to do, what are things are required for a design of a car, or what are requirements are there for the car related case study or ATM related case study. So now everything is there. Now business analyst has to analyze and see if there are something missing or not. If suppose during this these are a huge set of requirements, suppose there is no requirement with respect to engine. So at the end, this is very important requirement, because without engine there won't be any car at the end. So if you have to analyze whether every requirement, so you have to, as a business analyst, you have to analyze whether every requirement to build a car with us. We have to see if we don't have anything missing. If we have anything missing, we have to go back again and see what we can do to fulfill those requirements. We also have to see there are no extra requirements or redundant requirements which are not required. Just an example, since we are just focusing on electric car launch, we don't have to gather requirement with respect to car which runs on petrol and diesel or gas. Okay, so we just have to focus on actual requirement which are needed for us to launch the car, and not the ones which are outside our scope. We also have to take care of assumptions and constraints, because since we are launching our new product into the market and we are the first one, there would be we have to take care of some of the assumptions. Something like whether the customer would accept the product or not, what are the probable risks. We have to identify all those assumptions and document it. Probably those things would come into picture once the product is launched into the market. So there would be some assumptions, there would be some constraint, there would be some limitations, like since we are just focusing on electric car, the limitation is that other fuels like petrol and diesel won't come into picture. Those are the limitations. The third important element is represent requirements and their attributes. Now, as we have seen in this matrix, these are the requirements and these are the attributes. Okay, so accordingly, battery is one of the requirements. What type of battery is there? So it's lithium ion polymer. So all these requirements and their attributes, business analysis task also involves documenting both these topics, requirements and their attributes, and link each one of them in a proper way and see if nothing is missed. If I talk about example, battery type is there, but at the end, if we miss what could be the capacity of the battery, then it's a miss in the requirement, and we might capture this requirement at the later stage. So that's why documenting all the requirement and their attributes and linking them in a correct way, so that at the end what we want to achieve is fulfilled. That's one of the important tasks of business analyst. The fourth one is implement appropriate level of abstraction. Now we have created this matrix. Okay, at the end, using this entire matrix, we are sure that we will be able to at least give some details about design of a car and various other aspects as well. Suppose one of the stakeholders, management, is not interested in all these requirements. He only is interested in what type of battery and battery related details. Task of a business analyst as well to just focus on the abstract. Business analyst can just give details about these, document it and share it with them, giving them the entire details of the requirement. So it is important that you identify the stakeholder and what they want, and give them create an abstract of the information and present it to them. This is the one which I just explained you about: people, roles, rational activity flow, capability in data and information. Now the guidelines. Now, since business analysis is a task, you have to keep some things in mind, as in some rules or some guidelines need to be followed to complete or to proceed with the task. So these are the 5 guidelines of this task of specify and model requirement. So one is modeling notations and standard. Since a business analyst work in an organization would have some standards and notations which need to be followed by everyone. There would be some standard templates, standard documentation which need to be followed. So business analyst has to take care of that in mind. Modeling tools. There are several modeling tools where a person can create useful diagrams. There are several softwares available. Requirement architecture. Architecture is such that you gather all the details and make it into a very structured way so that it's easily understandable and easily readable as well. Solution scope. Solution scope is actually the boundary which separates what do we want to achieve and what is outside our scope of interest. Example, we just want to focus on electric car. So our scope should be just to develop an electric car. We don't need to think about how the car of which runs on petrol and diesel works. So all these are out of our scope. So we just have to focus on our solution scope. The last is requirement lifecycle management tools. So whatever design or whatever diagrams we are doing, we have to document and store it somewhere into a repository so that various other stakeholders can also refer them. So during this, you have to make sure that we are using some lifecycle management tools so that the requirements are saved and maintained from the start till the end of the project, till the end of the launch of the product, so that various states of requirements can be captured. There are various techniques which will be used by business analysts during this task of specifying and modeling requirements. There are various techniques, probably more than 15 or 18, and there is separate sessions for understanding all these techniques in more detail. So I would not go into more detail on all these techniques because these are in itself big topics to understand. I will just give you one or two about uh, what could be one of the techniques. Example, organizational modeling. What I just explained you about the hierarchy of the organization, CEO, below that various directors, regional managers, project managers, employee. All those we can create a chart or model them. Glossary is something which makes each and every person understand various concepts in a very simple way. Use cases and scenarios. Use cases are something which are diagrammatic form and make it more understandable how the various processes or various scenarios are taken place. Example, a customer comes to the ATM machine, he enters the insert the card, enters the pin. All these are type of use cases. So all these can be created in a very diagrammatic way and in a proper scenario. So business analyst take care of all these techniques. He can use all of them or very few of them to make this task successful. During this task, business analyst can approach any stakeholder because before before this task of specifying model requirement, business analyst has already approached the stakeholders and received all the information from them of what all needs to be done, what all things are needed to proceed further with our end goal or objective. So again, during this specify and model requirement, business analyst can again approach any stakeholders for clarification. As we have seen in one of the elements, we have to analyze requirements. It could be that during analysis we have missed one requirement, or there are some extra requirements which are not needed. So to clarify them, you have to again approach any of some of the stakeholders. So that's why all the stakeholders are involved. Various stakeholders can be customer, end user, domain SME, sponsor, project manager, implementation SME, everyone. So you can approach any of the stakeholder and clarify whatever you want to proceed with this task. So the first task is complete at the moment. Any questions till now? Probably, I
Yeah,
assume
Jatin,
no.
hi. Jatin, there is a question from George.
Okay.
That is, are there any architecture tools?
Mm-hmm.
So he has sent his question in the chat box.
Okay. Yes, there are various architecture tools. At the moment, this task does not involve much of the architectural tools. Various tools like MS Visuals are there, where you can create various diagrams. You can use Excel as well to create various charts, various other visual diagrams as well. There are PowerPoints. There is no specific tool mentioned in entire BABOK or entire learning process of any certification. It is up to the business analyst to use any of the software or architecture tool available in market or available within the organization. Hope it's clear.
Yes, Jatin.
Shall we proceed further? Okay. Now, second task of requirement analysis and design definition is to verify requirements. At the start, I have mentioned two terms, verify requirements and validate requirement. These are two tasks within RADD. So first task we will go through is verify requirements. There is very thin line between the definitions of these two, verify requirements and validate requirements. And people often get confused of what are the purposes of both of them. So I will just relate to our case study and explain you properly so that you people don't get confused between verify requirements and validate requirements. So let's go to verify requirement. We'll understand what are the purposes, input, outputs, elements, guidelines, tools, techniques, and stakeholders. It's same like we have done for the last task. Now verify requirements. The purpose of verify requirement is to ensure that all the requirements and design which we have created at the previous task meet all the quality standards and are usable for our project purpose or product launch purpose. Example, business analyst has to check all the quality related aspects are fulfilled. Just an example, if a tire for a design of a car, one of the requirement is to meet the specifications of tire. The tire, the business analyst and management has come up with a plan that the tire should be of 100 radius or 100 centimeter of diameter. But during the process, by mistake, one of the stakeholders write in the document, or it can be your mistake as well. Instead of 100 centimeter, you have written 100 meters. Okay, which is actually not possible for a car with that big diameter of a tire. Okay, so all these small quality related aspects need to be identified and bring to notice and correct them. Okay, example, charging of a battery 6 hours 10 minutes. It could not be that it's written just 6 seconds. That's practically impossible. So all these quality related stuff, quality related attributes are to be seen and rectified and reviewed first and rectified, because at the end all these requirements will club together and will make your product. So it is a task of business analyst to identify all of them at the very beginning, rather than missing all those quality related stuff and to be found out at the later stage and do all the rework again. So the task of this aspect is of the verify requirement is to see quality related standards are met. So one of the inputs are taken by business analysts to requirements which are specified and modeled. This is the output of the previous task which we have just discussed. Whatever information which we have gathered from various stakeholders, business analyst has already documented it in a structured way, like in a matrice. Is structured, and business analyst it is verified. That's it. Simple. Also very simple. It's very easy to understand as well and very easy to relate as well. The first is to characteristics of all the requirement and design quality. Now in BABOK, there are few sub characteristics are given using which a business analyst can check the quality of requirements and design, and those 9 characteristics are mentioned over here. These 9 characteristics are atomic, complete, consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Actually, your voice was breaking in between. Can you please repeat once the difference between verify and validate? Your voice was not audible in between when you
From
were
where should I
explaining
continue?
the requirement verification and requirement
Oh,
validation.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Requirement validation. Okay. Okay. I will come back again. Requirement validation I will cover in next task. Let's cover verify requirements at the moment. Now,
Okay. Yeah.
hope the okay. So now verify requirement is one of the activity of business analyst to ensure that all the quality related aspects are fulfilled. Business analyst has gathered all the details, all the requirements from stakeholders, and now have all the details now. So it's a task of business analyst to see whether everything with respect to standards, quality standards are met. Example, if I see the metrics over here, we have all the requirements and their attributes. Suppose a stakeholder gives a requirement of the tire should be of 100 centimeter diameter, not more than that. But during documentation, the stakeholder or business analyst does some mistake, and instead of 100 centimeter, that person writes 100 meter diameter of a tire, and practically it's not possible. So that's a big mistake. So as a business analyst, you have to identify all the requirements and their attributes, whether they are mentioned in a proper way, meeting all the quality related standards, and identify them and rectify them after confirming with the stakeholder, or after confirming with your requirements or what you want to achieve. So as a business analyst, you take some inputs, and one of the inputs is requirement specified and model. This is the specifying and model. So business analyst already output of our previous task already has all the details modeled clearly, properly diagrammatic. So I'd verify and see that all the quality related aspects are met, and at the end all the requirements will be verified. Now there are three elements, very easy elements. First is the characteristics of requirements and design quality. Now in BABOK business, there are 9 characteristics mentioned, using which business analyst can check the quality of all the requirements and design. These 9 quality characteristics are atomic, complete, consistent, concise, feasible, unambiguous, testable, prioritized, and understandable. Now all these are simple characteristics and self-explanatory as well. Suppose atomic is self-contained, and it's capable, that requirement is capable to get understand independently of various other requirements of or other design. Example, you can understand requirement of a tire without knowing any requirement of battery. It is completely atomic. It does not have any relation with any other requirement. It's atomic. Second aspect is complete. All the requirements should be complete. It should not be something which is missed, something which is incomplete. Example, the stakeholder has given the radius of the tire should be 100 meter, but instead of 100 meter, stakeholder just write 100. So we don't know whether it's centimeter, meter, or any other measure. So it is business analyst duty to check whether whatever requirements given are complete. Third is consistent. It is aligned with the needs of the stakeholder and not conflicting. One stakeholder give one requirement, another stakeholder can give the same requirement, and both can be all the requirements are the requirement should not. Fourth is fulfilling the acceptance criteria. Fulfilling, for example, the tire be of 100 meter. The tire size, the radius of the tire can be of 100 centimeter only. So you, as a business analyst, you have to identify all those technical or small attribute related detail as well, whether it's feasible or not. Sixth is unambiguous. It should be clearly stated. It should not create any confusion to any other person. It should be very much understandable to everyone, each and every stakeholder. The seventh is testable. At the end, you are creating a product, and before launch, you will test it whether it meets the market standards or not. So at the end, all the requirements should come together and it should be testable as well. The eighth part is the prioritize. As we said, we just want to focus on electric car and not any other product. So all those requirements related to electric car only should be prioritized. Rest all other requirements which are outside our scope should not be into picture. Last is understandable. It should be grammatical correct and written in a proper consistent style, making into account all the organization standards as well. So all these characteristics, using this characteristic, a business analyst can check all the quality related aspects of requirements and design. The next two elements are verification activity and checklist. Now these two tasks both go hand in hand. Now we have all the 9 characteristics. Now business analyst actually has to do verification tasks. So this second activity is the business analyst is actually doing the verification task. It has to check whether everything is complete, everything is in correct, all the if there are any organizational compliance. Example, if Indian government has a compliance that all the cars in the Indian market should have these security related aspects cover, like there should be airbags always in a car, there should be anti-theft alarm in the car. So if there are some compliance with respect to organization or with respect to industry, all those details are also to be taken care in these verification activities. And the third element also goes in hand, that a business analyst can create his or her own checklist, that I have to design a car, I have to I have to create some verify requirements, what all things I need to do. So I can create a small document and write all the checklists that I need to check these aspects, so that at the end I can say that all the requirements are verified from business analyst end. So the second and the third element goes hand in hand. Business analyst uses the checklist and the characteristics and proceeds with the verification activities, so that at the end all the quality related standards are met and fulfilled. Example, I will skip example of car and ATM because we have our own example of. Now going to the guidelines and tools, again during this verification task of checking whether all the quality standards are met, actually if we talk into the real world scenario, at business analyst is reviewing the document. So it is a task of business analyst to document it and store it into a repository, so that people can also review them or verify them or refer them in future. So this is the guidelines that we have to follow, that requirement life cycle management tool. So from start of the requirement till end of the launch of your product, you have to maintain the requirement in a specific area or specific location, which is known to everyone and which is accessible to everyone. These are some of the techniques which business analyst uses during the verification of requirement. There is a separate topics to understand these techniques in more detail. I will just go through one of the topics, that is reviews. As I said, this topic is actually a reviewing of the requirements, reviewing of the documents. Item tracking, there are several items and business analyst has to go through one by one and see whether it's meeting the quality standards. So all these aspects or techniques can be used, it's not mandatory to use everything, but any one of them can be used to complete this verification of requirement techniques. The last again is who all the stakeholders involved. Again, it's all the stakeholders involved, because we have received details or requirements from all the parties, from customers, end users, and management. So again, since we are verifying or reviewing the requirements, we might have some concerns with respect to quality standards. So again, we have to go back, get it cleared from them. So it's business analyst task to approach any of the stakeholder when required and get it clear, and at the end all the requirements should be verified. Any questions till now for this topic?
Hello, Jatin sir. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Let's move on to the third task, that is validity.
Yeah, Jatin, I guess somebody, yeah, Jatin, somebody is there to ask a question. Yeah, please go on. I mean,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah. Actually, I just want to clarify if the non-functional requirements can be termed as a validation of the requirement. Can we say that?
Yeah, Jatin, could you make out the question?
Can you come back again?
Yeah. So I just want to know if the non-functional requirements can also be termed as the validation of the requirement,
Yes,
because I have a confusion.
we are talking about all type of requirements. Yes, we are talking
Okay.
about all type of requirements. Non-functional requirement is also one of the requirements. Non-functional requirement
Okay.
are with respect to performance of the product. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
At,
Nice. Thank you.
we are launching a car, so of course we are expecting some performance from the car. It should have this much mileage, it should have this much capacity for the fuel, or all these small details are also non-functional requirements. So at the end, you have to check the business functionality as well, and the non-functional business functional requirement as well, or any other stakeholder requirements as well. So at the moment, we are not talking of any specific requirements. We are talking all the requirements which we have received till now. Hope it is clear.
Yeah, it is clear. Thank you.
Okay. Shall we move ahead with the next task of validate requirements? Now,
Yeah, Jatin, I guess we should.
as we had just seen the task, yeah. Okay. Now seeing task of verify requirements.
Jatin, I guess you're breaking actually. Hello, Jatin?
This, so we
Hello, Jatin. Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, Vinit, I guess there is some network error. So, yeah, one moment. Let me check with it.
Okay.
Jatin, can you hear us?
hello. Hello.
Yeah, Jatin.
Am I audible?
Yeah, audible now.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start
Okay.
from validating
So
the
now,
requirement.
as we have just seen, the topic of verify requirements, we have just seen. Sorry. Hello.
Hello? Yeah, Jatin.
Clear
Yeah,
now,
actually
but
it was breaking.
yeah,
Yeah, can you start now? Yeah.
your voice is not clear at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So validate requirements. Validate. We have just seen the topic of verify requirement. Verify requirement is to see all the quality related aspects of it. And now validate requirement is to make sure that the requirements and design aligned to our that all end goal or aligned to our business requirement. And so we want to launch an electric car, so we should have all the requirements which are needed to build a car. That means all the main requirements should be defined properly and their attributes should also be there. So validate requirement task is to see that everything comes together, and at the end we will be having a product. our, and at the end we are fulfilling our organization goal or organization objective. So validate requirement task is to done activity, whatever that our requirements, which whatever we have work we have done till now, are aligning with our business requirements. During this task, we will take requirements which are specified and modeled, which use of the inputs like requirements which are specified we have discussed in the first task. And at the end of this task, coming value, now all the assumptions. Since we are launching a project to the market, we know what customer reaction which is new to the market would be.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Whether the customer will
Jatin, you're breaking a lot actually in
accept
between.
the car, will be satisfied at the end, whether they will find all the advantages or value in that after 2 months. Yeah. Hello.
Jatin, can you check your network please, because you're breaking a lot in between. So
Hello.
Yeah, Jatin.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, now it is okay. I mean, but when you speak continuously, so in between you start breaking.
Okay. Okay. At the moment, it's okay, right? Should I continue?
Yeah, now it is fine. Yeah, please.
Okay. First, okay. So now we are going with. So we are going with all the elements. The first element is to identify assumptions. Since we are launching a new product in market, we have to identify all the risks which are associated, whatever we have identified, customer will behave, whether they will accept the product or not at the end, what benefits we can achieve, all these those requirements and documentation. Even you want to see something which you expect at the end. Example, the mileage of the car should be of something like 10 or 20. The maximum speed of the car should be of this much kilometer per hour. So all you have to define all the measurable evaluation criteria so that you can refer them and relate them with all the requirements which are to be clubbed together and make a product. The third is to evaluate alignment with the scope. Again, since we are building a product, we have to focus on what we need. The things which are outside our scope, we don't have to make into much of the interest. Example, we don't have to think about how the car of petrol and diesel works, how the requirements of petrol and diesel cars are. We just have to think about how the electric car and the requirements are. So at the end, business analyst task of validate requirement to see if all the requirement, if we club together, it fulfills our end goal or fulfills our objective of the organization. We have to see some guidelines and tools during this task. One of them is to about business objective. Our main objective of our case study is to develop or launch an electric car, or replace the old ATM fleet and replace with a new, better version of ATMs. We have to see what future state would look like. We have to visualize what our electric car would look like, how it will perform, how our ATM fleet would perform when a customer comes. So all those future state related things also need to be kept in mind. Next is potential value and solution scope. Potential value, what after we launch our product, what are we gaining as an organization? What are we achieving? What are the advantages of launching an electric car? Solution scope, again, we just have to focus on what we need to achieve. with respect to electric car, not focusing on any other activity, just with respect to again ATM fleet. So all those aspects are to be kept in mind during validation of requirements. These are some of the techniques which need to be can be used during our validation. Again, the same of the techniques comes as we have compared with verification. Again, as again we have seen reviews. So at the end, business analyst has to review all the requirements or documentation which again you have to review them and validate how received, validate them various stakeholders. So again you have we have to check the acceptance criteria and evaluation criteria, whether all the requirements together in our documentation, and see whether it's fulfilling our end objective. So all these techniques help business analysts to achieve their task. Again, all stakeholders, since on similar lines of verification of requirements, again we are doing review activity. So we would find some observations, something missing or something extra. So we can go again back to the stakeholders and ask them relevant questions, and see that at the end we are having all the requirements which are proper, verified and validated. Any questions on this topic?
Yeah,
Anyone?
if you have any questions, you
Or
can
should we proceed?
ask right now. Yeah, Jitin, I guess there is no question as of now, so we can move ahead.
Yeah. No questions. Okay, let's proceed. Now the fourth task of requirement analysis and design definition, that is define requirement architecture. We'll be seeing all these things again. What are the purpose of this task? Inputs and outputs, elements, guidelines, tools, techniques, stakeholders. Now the purpose. If you see this diagram, you can relate something. Mostly people, we have seen these type of diagrams of which are used by architects and builders. And of course, if you try to approach any builder or any property, you see this architecture of your entire house, and we see that what are rooms are there, what are other amenities are there. So this is with respect to architecture. These are with respect to the actual components. When they are clubbed together, it forms an architecture. Example, when we combined the body of the car with tire, with engine and various other stuff, at the end all these components come together, and after that a car is built. Okay, so as a business analyst, you have to see all these requirements made into a proper architecture way, so that every requirement are linked together, and once they form into a proper structure, we can realize into a proper product. Okay, so the main purpose of this task is to ensure that the requirements collectively support one another to fully achieve our objective. Our objective is to build a car. So our requirement with respect to engine, with respect to tires, with respect to security aspect, everything at the end should club together. And at the end, we should be able to fully achieve our objectives. So business analyst task is to bring all the requirements together into a very structured way and architecture way, and make it executive, which will be used in various other steps, various other tasks, which I will be explaining in more detail later on. During this task, business analyst will use these inputs. First is the requirements, which can be of any state. As we have seen, we have received all the requirements from stakeholders with respect to the tire, the other stuff. What are the design of the car? So it could be that requirements could be of any state. it could be a very rough requirement, or it could be a requirements verified and validated done in previous past. So a business analyst can use any of the requirements which is readily available with them and use it for building the architecture. The next is the information management approach. It defines how the business analysis information will be stored and accessed. Since we have come across this term of life cycle management tool, it is again the same thing, how business analysts the details, how it documents and how it's stored and its access to various other stakeholders as well. The third is the solution scope. Again, we are just we have to form a boundary what we want to achieve. Focus on build an electric car. Focusing on how to not how to build a bike, not how to build a car which runs on petrol or diesel. So we have to so that all those requirements which we have done till now, elicited, verified, validated, using all those things, we are making it into a proper structure, proper architecture way, so that at the end we are able to realize our main objective. Suppose of our case study, building of a car. Now there are three elements. The first element is viewpoint and views. Now what is a viewpoint? As I have seen my metrics, there are various requirements. One is with respect to battery of a car, one is with respect to tires, one is with respect to body, spare parts, security, and many other. But not all stakeholders are interested in the more detailed details. So they just want some stakeholders just want high level details. Some stakeholder only wants very few of, they are just interested in engine related requirements. So business analysts create an architecture, present them of various small requirements, and in such a way that the stakeholders which are interested in that task only are presented. So if we see this diagram, if we see A, B, D, U, all these are viewpoints. Viewpoints is just a small subset of the entire structure or entire architecture. And once you club all the subset or all the viewpoints, it will make the complete architecture. Okay, so that are called viewpoints. So viewpoint, in terms of it itself says it's just a small view of the entire picture. And viewpoint at the beneath, it's called view. So the actual requirements or actual design details or actual attributes are termed as view. As we see over, viewpoints are used to represent requirements from a particular perspective. As I said, it's just a thing which we want to present to a particular stakeholder. Not everything which are interested to them, we just present them what they want to see. And that the beneath the underlying requirements and design within a viewpoint are termed as view. Okay, the second element is the template architecture. As I had explained earlier, we business analysts work in an organization or in an industry. So there would be some standards or some specific models or templates which are already present, which are to be followed by everyone within the organization. So as a business analyst, it is a task to use those standards. Do not deviate from the standards which are designed or which are to be mandatorily used by the organization. So as a business analyst, you have to use all the templates, standard templates to create an architecture. The third is to again see the completeness. Again, since we are again restructuring our requirements with respect to viewpoints and views, we have to again see whether we have all the requirements which once we club together, it makes a complete picture and which fulfills or aligns to our objective, organization objective. Example, how to develop an electric car. So at the end, nothing should be missed. Now this task is to club everything together, whatever task which we have done till now. Club together and see whether after realizing these requirements, are we fulfilling the purpose of our product, launching a product? So you have to make sure that everything is complete with respect to requirements and its architecture. Again, now the fourth point is important with respect to relationships. We have several requirements over here. We have requirement with respect to battery, security, engine. We have to identify, do we have any relations within these requirements? Okay, we have to see, since we are building a car at the end, everything is related to one another. If one of the requirement is missed or not related, then at the end we will be missing something at the end. So we have to define relations between all the other requirements and prioritize them accordingly. So there, within BABOK, they have defined a few of the relations, like defined, necessary, correct, unambiguous, and consistent. These 5 aspects of relation define that we are not missing anything with respect to architecture. We have is linked together. Nothing is unambiguous or nothing is confusing. Nothing is inconsistent. Nothing is if we feel that it is not feasible. So all these relations, once they come together and form a structure, it does not give an incorrect picture that we are moving into a wrong direction. It should make sure that once we club all the requirements, we are seeing what we want to achieve. And the last element is business analysis, information and information architecture. Again, since we have already done 4 knowledge areas before that, and during that knowledge areas, we have interacted with so many stakeholders, and we have gathered so much information from them. So as a task of a business analyst is to gather all the information, create an architecture, and store it into a proper structured way into a repository so that every other stakeholder can access them as well. Now coming into the guidelines, we have to keep again some guidelines during this execution of task. The first is methodologies and frameworks. As I already, since we are working we are working into an organization, and that organization will have some standard processes, standards, templates, standard framework of how to go ahead with a project. What are the methods which are used by the industry from so many years, so that a business and those framework are. Second is how to miss any information or compliance related stuff. Example, if Indian government has standards with respect to automobile industry, that these security aspects need to be followed by all the motor company. So business analyst has to take care of all those in details as well, that are we not missing any of the compliance related or legal or regulatory related requirements. So we have to make sure that we also combine all these details into our architecture. And the last is the architecture management software. There are many software which are available, open source version as well. You can use any of the software and create paid version. Create an architecture which can club all the
Jatin, it has started breaking again.
There are several techniques which a business analyst can use to complete this activity of defining architecture. Mostly with respect to making a structure we are creating. So we have to use using which. Yeah.
Yeah, Jatin, actually it was breaking in between.
Okay. Is
Jatin,
it okay
can
now?
we change the network? Yeah, I mean it is getting better actually sometimes, and then suddenly it starts breaking actually in between. So can you change the connection if possible right now?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, at the moment the connection seems fine to me. I'm not sure what's going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Is it better now?
breaking in between. Now, when we are talking, it is fine. But when you
Okay,
start speaking and then in between it starts breaking, now it
okay,
is fine. Please continue now.
okay, okay. So yeah, since during this task, business analyst can follow some of the techniques which are mentioned over here. All those are task techniques which are with respect to diagrams or modeling. Since we are creating some structure or architecture, we have to use some tools and create some models. Some of the techniques are data modeling or scope modeling or organizational modeling. And the last are all the stakeholders which are involved. So at the end, since we are doing the very important task of clubbing all the requirements together into a very architectural way, since we have already verified and validated, now we have clubbed all the requirements together. It is a task of business analyst to go to all the stakeholders and explain them what we have done till now and show them the structure and convince them that these are the requirements which will fulfill our objective, the end objective with what we want to achieve. So at the end, business analyst can approach any stakeholders, whoever they feel, and get the requirements reviewed from them. Any questions with respect to this topic, defined requirement architecture?
You all can write your questions in the
Anyone?
chat box as well.
Okay. Shall we proceed further?
Yes, Jatin.
Okay. The fifth task is define design option. Now, just imagine we have modeled all our requirements, we have verified, we have validated, and we have created architecture of all the requirements. So we have brought all the requirements together. Now we have to find out all the options using which we can achieve our objective. Okay, so this task of define design option for the business analyst is to see what are the approaches we can take, what are the opportunities we have to improve our product, whatever we have done till now, what we can improve more, what what are the components which will be used during our design phase. Example, we have already mentioned all the requirements with respect to small components of a car. Once we assemble all these components, at the end we will be having a design of a car. Okay, so business analyst task is to check all the possible approaches, all the possible designs, and present it to the management, present it to the stakeholders as these designs, design 1, design 2, design 3, these are the advantages and disadvantages of design 1 or advantages of design 2 or 3, and then provide them with a picture or what we have to do further. Okay, so this was the purpose of define design option. We have to identify what all approaches we have. Yeah.
Jatin, sorry to interrupt you. There is a question uh, that can you explain
Yes.
again the difference between viewpoints and waves?
Okay. Viewpoints. This is the full picture of our requirements architecture. Assume this is the full picture. Using this, we will be able to design a car. A stakeholder comes and demands that I just want to see architecture or requirements architecture with respect to battery and tires only. Okay, so I just club this together into a small document format or design format, and I present them these two requirements only with respect to battery and tires. So there is a huge picture and I'm just focusing on a small part of a picture. Okay, so the small part is called viewpoint. Okay, and what's actually within the picture are called views. Okay, so this small part battery till tires is a viewpoint, and these small sub requirements like type, capacity, tire size, all are actual requirements. So those are called views. So there is a big picture that is called requirements architecture. We are focusing on a small part of a big picture that is called viewpoint, and what's actually within that picture are called views. Hope it's clear.
Thanks, Jatin. Yeah, I guess it's clear now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, let's proceed with this task. I have just explained what is the purpose of design, define design options. Business analyst comes up with various design options and present it to the stakeholders that these are the designs which we have finalized. These are the advantages. Let's see what we can do with them. During this process, the inputs are change strategy. Change strategy is such that what we how a strategy, like we will be doing these things first, and after them we will be clubbing all the requirements together, then create a product and then launch it. So we have a strategy which and this change strategy is one of the topics in other knowledge areas. So just assume that we have a change strategy, that we have a plan that we will be doing these things first, then this, and at the end we'll be completing our task. So this is the change strategy, how we will be moving from our current state to the future state. Next input is the requirements. So the requirements, as I said, it would be validated and prioritized. As I said, we have to now design options. We have to create some options that this is option 1, this is option 2, this is option 3. So before doing that, we have to check all the requirements if they are validated and are in priority. And the third is the requirements architecture, the one which we have just seen before in our task. So once this entire task is complete of define design options, at the end we will have various design options. That means we will have a design of a car which will look like something like, suppose Mercedes Benz. We will also have a design of a car which will look like BMW. Third design which will look like Maruti. So we will have various designs to select for. Okay, let's move on to the elements. Okay, now elements is important factor because we have to identify what we can create within our own capacity, or do we need to purchase from outside, or we can combine both. I will just relate to our example of car. The motor company is capable to create all the parts of the car except tires. Okay, except tires. So motor company decides that we'll create the body, we will have our own engine, we will have our own battery, but since we don't have any capacity to create our tires for the cars, so we will give contract to the any other party like MRF or Michelin or any other tire company. Okay, so as a business analyst, you have to define approaches. You have to identify what can be created within our organization, what we can purchase from outside, or we can combine both. With respect to suppose ATM fleet, can a bank create ATMs? No, there would be a certain other hardware company which will create ATMs for us, and we can just buy those ATM fleet and use it for our banking transaction. So as a business analyst, you have to identify what we want to achieve, and do we have our capacity within our organization, or do we want to purchase it from outside and then use it, or it's a combination of both. The second is element is to identify improvement opportunities. So we have some requirements at the moment. We have thought with that we will be designing our car in this way, that this will be the battery capacity, this will be the body, this will be the tires. But can we improve much? Can we add more automation? Like can we add some self-driving related features into the car? Can we add some extra security related aspects within the car? So we just have to identify what can we more improve within our product. Till now, whatever we have done, can we improve more in a better way, so to enhance customer experience. Second aspect is to information availability. Again, whatever information we have gathered, it is important that we document or create some manuals so that everyone can refer them and understand them without having questions. Just an example for how to use an ATM. A customer goes to an ATM. If he is an experienced person, if he has used it or observed it before, he knows how to operate an ATM. But if a person who is using ATM machine for the first time for his transaction, he does not know. So it's better that on the website of the bank, there is a manual of to explain the customer how to use an ATM for a cash withdrawal activity. So it is important that we identify all these information related things so that it's easy for every other stakeholder to grab and understand it. And we also can create new capabilities in the proposed solution. As I said earlier, we have a design ready with our architecture and requirements. Can we create more capabilities? Just an example, at the moment, all ATM fleets are only offering cash withdrawal only. Can we, in the new ATM fleet, can we offer cash deposits as well, or balance inquiry as well, or mobile recharge as well? Like, can we think of any other methods which we can improve the capabilities of the solution which we are providing? So it is improvisation of what we are doing it till now, what we are doing extra for the product. So it is important that business analysis tasks are taken care with utmost importance with respect to improvement of opportunities. The third element is requirements allocation. Again, we have seen various components. Tire is there, battery is there, engine is there. At the end, everything should come together and maximize the value. All the requirements is there and there are components. Example, the requirements of tire is there, and at the end, these are the components. This is the requirement, these are the two components. So are these components aligned with our requirements and fulfilling and maximizing the value? So it is up to business analyst how we are taking these aspects into consideration into our design activity. Then the fourth is to describe design options. Now we have thought of, are we creating or are we purchasing from outside? Are we creating the entire car within our organization, or are we purchasing some components like tires or body from outside? We have discussed all the improvement related opportunities. So now the fourth element is to describe all of them into a proper document format or a visible diagrammatic format. The fourth element is to just club together all the information which we have gathered till now and document it and present it to the management, that these are the design options. Now let's go through one by one, seeing these advantages, disadvantages, and see what we can do further. The guidelines are existing solutions. Now, with respect to ATM fleet, we have to keep in mind the existing ATM fleet and their issues and the customer complaints. We have to keep in mind and accordingly design our new product. Future state descriptions. We are moving from the current state to a future state, that is from old ATM fleet to the new ATM fleet. So we have to keep in mind what we are going to achieve with respect to our future state, what new ATM fleet will look like, what will be the customer experience. All these things need to be kept in mind. Requirements which are traced are one of the guidelines. Tracing of requirement is one of the tasks of BABOK in one of the knowledge areas. Tracing of requirement is just that we can create from high level requirement to a low level requirement. That is called tracing of requirement. And the last is again solution scope. We just have to design all the options, present all the design options within our scope, not looking outside, which are not important. Example, we have seen, we just focus on electric car, not with respect to car which can be designed with respect to petrol or diesel. The techniques which are used, there are several techniques which we can use within the design of defining design options are as market benchmarking and market analysis. We can design our car looking into some other products which are present already in market. How suppose this electric car is launched first time in India, but it's already launched in Europe. So we can check how the market is behaving there, how the designs of the cars which are launched in Europe, how they are looking, how they are performing. So all these small techniques can be used to gather all the information and create some design options for the management or for the stakeholders. The last topic is
Jatin, there is a question.
Yeah,
There is a question.
Yeah, please.
Can you re-explain the tracing of requirement?
Okay, tracing of requirement. This is one of the broader topics of BABOK in one of the knowledge areas. Tracing of requirement is something which we can create a small document or a traceability matrix. Just an example, this is a high level requirement. We can drill down more in more detail into small sub requirements, like a battery type, then lithium ion polymer, then which all companies are providing lithium ion polymer batteries. So we can drill down from high level requirements to a low level requirement. Those, and we just linked each and every one into a proper lineage. So that are called requirements which are traced. Is it clear?
Yes, Jatin. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Coming to stakeholders, we can ideally during this task we can approach these 5 stakeholders, because we are now presenting design options. So we don't have to approach to all the stakeholders. Example, ideally we have to approach the management with our design option, but we have to have support of various other stakeholders like domain subject matter expert, implementation subject matter expert, operational support, supplier, project manager. Example, project manager. Project manager is because that project manager will plan and manage all the design related and the process, how we can execute this design, whether we find any risk in this design. So all these aspects can be covered by project manager. Implementation subject manager is such that we have created a design, but implementation subject manager is a expert who actually will design a car in a physical way and then assembled it. So their viewpoint is also important. Domain subject matter expert, that person knows entire end-to-end about domain. What are the key aspects of the domain? What are the key aspects which are used in an electric car? Operational support. Now it is an important aspect once we roll out our car. After we roll out our car, we have to support the customers if they face any issue. So we should have any operational support team as well, who can analyze the issues of the customer and rectify them and close it to a proper satisfactory mode. And the 5th is the supplier. Example, as I just said, we cannot build an entire car within our organization. We don't have a capacity to build tires. So we will just give contracts or to a supplier like CAT tires, MRF or machine. So we have to depend on suppliers as well. So these are one of the important stakeholders. So these are the 5 stakeholders which are involved within our task of defining design options. Any questions till now with respect to this task? Any questions, or should we move further with the last subtask?
Yeah, Jatin, I guess good. Sorry. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So this, BA also should be a domain expert, or we have some other
Yes,
stakeholder as a domain expert.
business analyst can also be a domain expert. All these, if we just go through BABOK, if in the initial stages of the BABOK, it is mentioned that any person who has knowledge of his own industry or domain, or he is expert of something, he can become a business analyst at the end. project manager, if you are a tester, if you are a domain SME, or if you are implementation SME, you can at the end be a business analyst at the end. So it is possible that the business analyst can be a domain subject matter expert as well, or he is aware of the project management activities as well. So business analyst is a person who has domain knowledge and who can be a bridge between various stakeholders and various other parties, who can collaborate with all of them and create requirements and design which can be aligned to our goals or objectives what we want to achieve. So if we see, all these tasks require knowledge. So that's why it can be possible that business analyst can be a domain SME, or he cannot be. That's why he might take help from domain SME.
Yeah, so this is not kind of mandatory like he should be domain
No,
expert.
no.
He can take
No,
help
no.
of the domain expert and document the requirement, right?
Yes.
All right.
BABOK is a Bible, but it's not that you have to mandatory follow this process only. It is just a activity or guidelines given for a business analyst to perform his activity in a efficient way or in a structured way. But it is completely up to business analyst and its organization how they want to achieve or how they want to go ahead with any of the project or any of the product implementation. It is completely up to them. But these are the possible stakeholders, or these are the possible techniques which can be used. All can be used, or none can be used, or one can be used. Anything.
Okay, got it.
Hope it's
Thank
clear.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
I think someone else also had one question.
No, Jatin, it was me actually, Brajesh. So you can, I guess
Okay.
we are good now.
Okay, then let's move ahead with the last task within this knowledge area, that is analyze potential value and recommend solution. So if we just go with the flashback, what we have done till now, we have gathered all the requirements, we have modeled them, we have created an architecture, we have verified it with respect to quality standards, we have validated it, whether the requirements are aligning with our end goal or objective. We have now identified what we have to do with respect to design, whether are we creating everything within our own organization or we are purchasing or combination of both, what are the improvements which we have done. So now we have everything in place which can be presented or as a business case to our management, that yes, we have designed several designs of an electric car. These are the designs 1 2 3, these are the advantages, these are the disadvantages, these are the potential value or revenue which can be generated after our launch. So we have to present a business case to our management. That's why this task is termed as analyze potential value and recommend solution. As a business analyst, we have several design options, but it is also our duty to recommend a solution, because management is not aware of which is a proper one, which design is a proper suited for the market. Since we have done so many activities now, we are completely aware of what is the best product which we can launch into the market, which can generate maximum customer satisfactory, maximum revenue for the organization. So it is up to business analyst. We have to identify everything, present a business case and recommend a solution, so that business management can go ahead and give a green signal that yes, this is good enough. So let's go with what are the inputs. The inputs are potential value and design options. Potential value, which we have just assumed that we are thinking that these are the potential value which we can generate using these design options. So these two are in place as an input. And at the end, the output is solution recommendation. Solution recommendation is such that we have presented a business case that management, we have design 1, design 2, design 3. These design will generate X revenue, Y revenue, Z revenue, but these are having these many disadvantages. It will have these many customer satisfaction in index. These many good features will be there. Now we think as a business analyst, design 2 is the best suited for out of all of them. So we are recommending design 2, that we should go ahead with this design 2 and create a car, something like we have designed in design 2, and then launch it. So at the end, we are recommending the stakeholders that we should launch this design into market. So these are the elements. If we look at the broader picture of the organization, why we are launching a product, of course we are expecting some benefits. So what are the benefits? The business analyst has to identify them. It could be that we are launching a product for customer satisfaction, or we are launching a product to earn more money, or we are launching a product for compliance related stuff or policy related stuff, or we are having several customer issues, so we are trying to rectify them, as with respect to our case study 2 for ATM fleet. So we have to identify what, after we launch or after we complete our project, what are the benefits in coming days or in coming years will be generated for the customers and for the organization. The second is cost. Of course, since we are building a product, it will cost some money. It will of course cost some time as well. And after that also, once we launch our product, there would be several customers who will be coming back with their issues. Then we have to support them. So what are their supporting cost or operating cost as well? So we have to identify what are the costs involved during this. And if we are starting to build now, within how many months or how many days we can launch the car actually. If we finalize this design, how much time it will take for a company to roll out, suppose 100 cars into the market. So we have to identify all those numeric or tangible related details with respect to cost and their benefits. Because we have to present the business case. These are the costs, these are the advantages, these are the disadvantages, these are the risks, and at the end, these are the benefits. The third element is that we have to determine value. Now it's actually boiling down to the same thing. What are the benefits customer is getting, and what are the benefits organization getting? We have to see whether, since we as a company have invested so many things or so many money into the product, after how many months or how many years we will be getting complete money back, or what would be the return on investment. And the last is to assess design options and recommend solution. So now we have a big picture in our table. We have our design ready, we have our benefits, what would be the cost, what would be the advantages, disadvantages, and what would be the end value. So at the end, we have to create a business case and present it to stakeholders, to management, that yes, we have analyzed so many things, we have so many options ready, but we feel this is the best option of all of them because of these advantages, these benefits. So at the end, we are approaching them, we are recommending them. During this task, we have to follow certain guidelines. Again, our end goal is the business objective. What we are trying to do. Management has asked to roll out electric car. So after this, all our efforts, after creating so many parts of the car and assembling it, are we creating an electric car for the market, suitable for Indian market? So we have to think of our business objective should be our end goal always in mind. The current state and the future state, of course, it should be in business analyst mind every time, that this is the current state and what we want to achieve at the end. Example of our case study 2, old ATMs are having several problems. That is our current state, but we want to replace it with our new ATMs, so which will have better features, better experience to the customer. So that is our future state. So those things need to be differentiated and kept in mind during our entire task of proposing a solution to the management, that these are the issues which are faced using this proposal. I mean, if you implement this, these are the advantages, these are the problems which will be solved. Fourth is the risk analysis. Yes, since it's a new product to the market, we don't know whether customers will accept the product, or they will be happy at the end. So there would be some risk, since we are putting so much money into the product. It could be that there won't be any returns at the end after 1 year. It could take some 3 years or 5 years. So all these risk related factors also should be kept into the mind while presenting our solution as well. And the last, again, solution scope, I have explained it various times. We just have to focus what we have to achieve at the end, not thinking any other factors which are outside our outside our interest. We should not focus what's outside our boundary. These are which can be to techniques which can be used, present or recommend a solution. As we have seen business cases, I have mentioned brainstorming. Brainstorming is we can collaborate and inform them these advantages and disadvantages and ask them their suggestions as well, and see what their ideas as well for all those design. Estimation is such that what are the costs, what are the benefits, what are the return on information, return on investment. Again, financial analysis. All these, before we propose our solution, we have to have our all financial ready, that these are the finances, these are the costs, these are the, everything should be in a numbered format, so that we can convince management that yes, we have to go with this design at the end. So we, as a business analyst, you can use any of these techniques as either you can use one or all of them. It's up to business analyst. And at the end, you have to propose a solution. The stakeholders. Again, as the previous task also suggested as a design, we again have to, during our business case, we also have to take into confidence all these stakeholders as well, because supplier is one of the important. If we are not manufacturing one component, so we are getting supplied from the third party, so it is important that we have information about our supplier as well. We also have confidence about, if we have confidence with domain SME and implementation SME, they also feel that yes, this design which we are proposing is also, they also think that it is best among all the designs. Operational support. After launching a car, do the support team which are already supporting the existing car also feel that yes, they can support this car as well. And at the end, project manager, because we have to provide a proposal to management that these are the efforts, these are the costs, this will be the time frame, after this we will be launching a car, this will be the plan. So project manager confidence also is very important within this task. Any questions on this topic about analyzing potential value and recommending solution? Any question? Anyone?
Please feel free to write your questions in the chat box.
Any questions till now?
No questions.
No questions. So yeah, I hope these are the 6 tasks which I have explained, and hope you have added some value. I will just add 2 small questions to you to just see whether you can relate to the knowledge which you have gained in this session. So let's just have this. I have just created 2 questions. Just, it's very simple, and I'm sure you guys will be able to answer them. What requirements analysis task ensures that the solution requirements align to the business requirements? The option are validate requirement, verify requirements, prioritize, and specify requirements. So just think out loud
validate
and
requirements.
Correct. That's correct. That's correct. So now you understand difference between verify and validate. verify requirement is to ensure the quality standards are met, and validate requirement is to ensure that all the requirements are aligned to our business goal. All our requirements are aligned to our needs, what we want to achieve as an organization. That's correct. So your answer is correct. Second question. When reviewing a set of related requirements, you discover that two of the requirements described the same feature but produce different results. So based on your well-written requirements checklist, you would note that these requirements are not either complete, consistent, testable, concise. If you just go to our right, correct. So these are the characteristics of our verify requirements. If we just go into flashback, there were 9 characteristics of how we can verify our requirements based on with respect to quality standards. So there were many of them, and one of them was consistent. So the requirements should be consistent. It should not that one requirement can produce one result and the same requirement mentioned can produce different result as well. It should be consistent. So yeah, the answer B is right. So yeah, I think it's end of the session. I hope I have added some value to the knowledge. If you still have any questions, please feel free to ask right now. Any questions?
I guess, Jatin, there are no questions. All right, then, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. And
thank you.
Yeah, if you have any questions, so you can always reach out to us. And if you have any questions related to our courses, I'm sharing our contact in the chat box. You can always write there, or you can call us on the given numbers as well. And I appreciate your cooperation throughout this session. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jatin. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck, everyone.